just about 3 overs is all it took India. We expected that, didn't we, on the fifth morning. The fact that this game went to a fifth morning itself was a bit of a surprise. But India have done the needful. 2-1 is the scoreline. It sets up the rest of the series quite nicely. This is the post-match show on ESPN Cricinfo Matchday. I am Rahane Kapoor with Aakash Chopra and Steve Harmison. And we've had a wonderful test match that Steve and Aakash will have the privilege of reviewing and analysing. It all started, you could go now, to Joe Root deciding to put India in after winning the toss. As a result of that, India seemed to have the better of the batting conditions. Take nothing away from Virat Kohli and Ajinkya Rahane, who made the absolute most of batting first in a test match to ensure India had a respectable 329, 159 between the captain and the vice-captain. Kohli 3 short of what would have been 100 in both innings. In response, it was Hardik Pandya's 5 wickets spell in 6 overs that dented England to ensure India took a healthy lead into the second innings. And Virat Kohli once again leading the charge for India. Good thing was men around him got runs to make sure India declared 352 for 7-2, set England an improbable 5-1 in the fourth innings. Joss Buttler showed resistance, Ben Stokes showed resistance, Jasprit Bumrah showed his class on his return to the side. Lots to talk about. Let's get right into perhaps the key thing that turned this test match into India's favour. Would it be that partnership, Aakash, of Rahane and Kohli, or would it be Hardik Pandya's spell in the first innings?
Well, I think it started with that partnership because the way Indian team has batted on this tour, barring this for the third test match, the first 2 test matches, it was only about Virat Kohli and nobody else was even standing up. So that partnership in which Ajinkya Rahane was walking shoulder to shoulder with the captain, 1 full session of not losing a wicket and then be in a position to impose some amount of control. I think that partnership started it all and made the most of batting first. Hindsight is perfect vision, so you can always look back and say that, you know, England went for an easy kill, an early kill, you can bowl the Indian side out for 100 odd runs like you did in Lords, but then every test is different, and these two guys, I think that partnership, Hardik Pandya happened later, but that it started with that partnership and scoring over 300 runs in the first innings of a test match.
Steve?
Yeah, I think they both went hand in hand. I think the partnership that Kohli and Rahane had give the impetus to the bowlers, just confidence to the bowlers to go out there. Who would have thought that the way Hardik Pandya's bowled so far in his Test career that he would go and get, what was it, 5 for 28. So no, I think they both went hand in hand. Joe Root, when he made the toss, I think the pitch was probably a 320, 350 par score in that first innings. England have won the toss and gone on overhead conditions and thought India have batted poorly in overhead conditions so far in the series, so we got to try and exploit that. That backfired a little bit, but I think the partnership and the bowling spell went hand in hand. I think the confidence that the bowling unit got from the batting unit, I think they worked as a team very, very well, and at the end of first innings for both sides, that was it, job done. India were, it was just a case of getting through a couple of days and finishing the test match off.
You speak a little bit about how, or a lot about how luck plays that little role when it comes to winning, losing. Is this series coming to become a series where the session that whichever team gets that's the hardest to bat, that essentially dictates the outcome of the match?
Quite possibly. You look at what we've had so far in the Test series. We've had a game which could have went either way. With 15 minutes, 20 minutes to go at Edgbaston, who would have predicted what the outcome was? India or England winning. England completely outplaying India at Lords, and India completely outplaying India at Trent Bridge. So, little bits of luck where you look at that. You look at things going your way in different passages of the Test match. England getting the better of the bowling conditions at Lords went in their favour. Slightly better conditions, but not much. Marginally, India got it Trent Bridge, so there is an element of luck. Pandya getting the wicket of Joe Root, which could have potentially gone either way off a soft signal. These things do sway. It seems to be more in the modern game, and I think that's down to mental softness of the way cricket is at Test match level, because of the one-day game. That players don't seem to want to go for the long haul. They don't really want to roll their sleeves up in. You look at Jimmy Anderson, didn't give up last night. He wore 2 or 3 absolute beauties on his body, on his hand, but he was desperate to go into the fifth day because that's what top test good characters do. I'm not sure there's many Jimmy Andersons around the world now with bat or ball in hand, which play the long haul, long game. When the going gets tough, they tend to think, right, I'm going to go the aggressive way, the hit-out way, rather than have the absorption and say, right, I'm not going to give my wicket away. I'm going to keep coming at you with the ball, and you're not going to beat me. I think that's a bit soft sometimes, and I think that's why you get these sessions where a clattering of wickets, and we see around the world now that wickets come in clusters in nearly every single test match that goes. None more evident than this one.
And Jimmy Anderson, a good example with the ball, but in a series that's been dominated by the ball, Aakash, Steve talks about mental softness. Virat Kohli, probably a prime example, not just for the rest of the Indian batsmen, but now clearly leagues above batsmen from both sides in this series.
And he's also shown us two things, that luck does play a role, but you can always override the luck if you have the skills. That's what has happened with Virat Kohli. He is batted in tough conditions, as is the case for everyone else, but he's found a way to not just stay relevant, but score 200 runs twice in 2 test matches out of the 4 test matches that's been played so far. The second best is not even half the number of runs that he has scored alone. So you know that his skill level is perhaps head and shoulders above the rest. Only guy who actually in current form in this team comes close is Joe Root, and he's not having the best of time. Alistair Cook, I would have entertained the thoughts that he would obviously be one of those who would be pushing Virat Kohli for the number of runs that he scored, but he's going through a horrid patch as well. Therefore, Virat Kohli is still the centerpiece of India's success. The ability to turn it around is still around Virat Kohli. If he's scoring runs, obviously the team is putting itself in positions where you can at least compete. If he doesn't, then things can go pear-shaped quite quickly. And same is the case maybe with England. If Joe Root is not doing well, you know that they're going to falter quite radically. And luck, when Stephen was talking about, I was just thinking, when teams are almost equally matched and there are enough issues with each team to address, that is when luck plays a slightly bigger role. If it's a team that's very, very competent, you don't see apparent weaknesses, then luck has a very small role to play, as is the case with Virat Kohli. Luck has just a marginal role.
Okay, let's do a detailed wrap of this test match, go bit by bit, what the things that India got right, the things they still need to improve on, then England got right, and what they need to improve on, where the momentum is shifted as a result of this test match. Let's start at the top for India. The opening batsman, we've spoken of Virat Kohli, but the opening batsman, 30s and 20s and the odd 40, Shikhar Dhawan, KL Rahul, that chopping, changing, still better numbers in the opening than India have had. So you think now that these two should be the ones to take India through the rest of the series at least?
Without a doubt. In fact, Shikhar Dhawan, when he was given an opportunity in the first test match, there was no reason to bench him at Lords. But then once again, I think things happen for a reason. Had he played at Lords and the way India batted, he wouldn't have featured in this test match at all, because that's exactly has been the fate of Murli Vijay. So now you know that Shikhar Dhawan is giving you 30s, 40s. In fact, that's been the story of his entire tour in England, barring that 70 against Ireland in that T20 game. He's looked good in patches, 40s in the limited overs format, white ball cricket. Now a couple of a 30 and a 40 here, a few runs in the first test match. You will have to stick with him. You should stick with him. KL Rahul, when I see him, I see more promise. I see more potential. I also see him as a potential answer to India's opening woes. I can't say the same for Shikhar Dhawan for what I have seen of him of late and over a period of time. But KL Rahul is someone you should invest in, and he's solving your two problems. One, of course, is the opening batting. Second is the slip catching.
Yeah, he's catching everything. KL Rahul, 7 in the test for him. The other thing that's worked for India, now I'll get Steve Harmison, the fast bowlers. The addition of Jasprit Bumrah, Steve, seems to have given India real cutting edge as far as their bowling goes. And we just have a look at how these bowlers have performed overseas. Get some numbers for you to just entertain how good they've been in tests this year. Mohammad Shami at an average of 25 has just been brilliant at times and just off the boil in others. Ishant Sharma 21 at an average, a man who's criticised for having a high average after this much cricket. But Ishant Sharma at 21 has been a new Ishant Sharma. Bumrah's come back in just 4 matches, has 21 wickets. He seems a red ball bowler that the world will take note of. And Hardik Pandya has had a test match to remember too. That in spite of Bhuvaneshwar Kumar's absence. Steve, thought on this quartet of pace bowling now that have outdone the English bowlers in terms of sheer speed?
Yeah, I think in sheer speed, there's been a lot of talk on commentary about India outdoing England on the bowling department. I wouldn't say they've outdone them in the bowling department. I would say they've outdone them in the speed department. You know, from a speed point of view, they've bowled quicker than England. I think the ball has dominated the bat for both sides in this Test series. Just think the reason why in this Test match India have batted better than England, and vice versa in the last one. I think Jasper Bumrah is a massive key weapon because England seem to struggle to pick him up. When you first sort of come across somebody like Matteo Muralitharan, you know, the action, the sort of action that he had, which is not the conventional action. Something like Lasith Malinga, you know, I look at that from I know Murali and Malinga and Bumrah are different disciplines, but when you visually you line things, as a batsman, you line. Nashik will tell you this. You line things up, and you have in your own mind a visual way of the ball coming down at you. And when it's something different, it takes a while to adjust. And when that's coming down at you at 90 mile an hour, you have not got a great time to adjust. So it's basically survival. And I think England have tried to survive. They did in the first innings. And when they tried to be a little bit more expansive, or they tried to sort of play a shot against him, that's when they became in trouble. I thought he was fantastic. I thought it took him a while to get from first innings to second innings. But in the grand scheme of things, he hasn't played a great deal of cricket. I thought he bowled beautifully. I thought his lengths were fantastic. I thought his seam position in the second innings was a lot better than what it was in the first. That's why he got rewarded. And he seemed to, his decision making, when to bowl the bouncer, when to bowl the Yorker, and when to sit in at length, was why he got, what was it, 5 for 80, 5 for 85. And probably was the match winner, because everybody says it's a batsman's game, but we all know bowlers win Test matches.
And just to add to what Stephen was saying about Jasprit Bumrah, when you play him for the first time, he's talking about cues as a batsman. So what are these cues that you're looking for? The non-bowling arm is a huge giveaway, because that tells you when to get ready. It's like the pedals on a cycle. One goes up, the other goes down. So the moment the non-bowling arm starts going downwards, you prepare, because your bowling arm is now on the upward swing and you will be ready to face the ball. In Jasprit Bumrah's case, that doesn't happen. This arm, the non-bowling arm, never goes up. If it doesn't go up, it does not really start coming down either when you expect it to come down, and that's the only difference. When you play against a bowling machine, if you're comfortable at 85 miles per hour, you set it up for 80, because there's no giveaway. You don't see a bowler running in, you don't see his wrist position, therefore he's slightly late, about 5 miles per hour. Same is the case with Bumrah. So even if he's bowling at say 85, it looks as if he's bowling on 89. Because you have that much lesser time to adjust and to just get ready and prepared with regards to where and when the ball is going to come to you.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't miss Steve's smile or smirk that bowlers win Test matches in spite
of course they do.
It being a batsman's game. Let's move on. Another point of discussion. Individually, for 3 players to spend time in the middle and get some runs. From India, Cheteshwar Pujara. From England, Ben Stokes and Joss Buttler, second innings. Aakash, the fact that Pujara, of all these things in his mind and demons of 2014 and whatnot, spent over 4 hours in the second innings. Quietly, this is an important game for him.
For 2 guys actually, Rahane and Pujara, because the vice captain has been under the scanner for a while. Prior to this Test match, 12 innings, he was averaging just 10. And there was a case built against him with regards to his selection, even though he was the vice captain, dropped in South Africa for the first couple of Test matches. And if India were to lose this Test match, they may have again entertained the same thoughts that once you've lost the series, might as well start looking ahead and look for someone else, maybe a Mayank Agarwal or a Prithvi Shaw. So from his point of vantage point, it is important that he got some runs. Pujara, once again, the same story. I do feel slightly sorry for Pujara, because you sent him to play county cricket to get some kind of form. Steve has already told all about the first half of the English summer, where you couldn't really put bat to ball. He was not very fortunate either, because he was, I think the false shot percentage was about 2 or 3%, and he was getting out every time he was getting beaten. But then do you drop somebody on the basis of first class form who is your rocket, your star Test cricketer? It's like sending Virat Kohli to play Ranji Trophy cricket to get some eye in, and if fails for 4 innings, would you actually entertain the thoughts of, oh no, he's not in form, let's get rid of him, let's get somebody else in. So they've not really been kind on Pujara, and therefore I'm very happy for Pujara. They've got the runs, and he'll be in a slightly better frame of mind going forward, because that's critical. You can't see it, you can't quantify it, therefore, but if you're not in the right space, getting runs can get very difficult at the highest level.
And amidst all the problems that England have with their own batting, Steve Harmison, the fact that Butler has got runs, the fact that Stokes is again grinding it out, that's at least boding good signs ahead of Southampton.
It's good signs, but when you look at it, with the position that they went in, I think Joe Root said it in his post-match comments about Jos Buttler not being this white ball crash bang wallop cricketer. He is a fantastic all-round cricketer, and I think Jos, he proved it to a little extent against Pakistan, but I thought he proved it unbelievable yesterday. I thought his mindset, the way he played, the time he went in, the temperament he showed, I thought that was a fantastic innings for somebody like Jos, who will always have question marks on his place. He will always have question marks on his place because he hasn't played a lot of first-class cricket. But he's answered the questions because people see him in such a light, which is he can only play white ball cricket. Well, that's complete nonsense. For me, all the top players around the world, the best players around the world, can play all 3 formats. And I think Jos is definitely one of them. He just needs to play more of it. And I think he showed yesterday when it was tough, and it was tough. Boomer bowled really, really well. Sharma was bowling very, very good in swingers. At a good pace as well, 85 mile an hour. The ball was reverse swinging. Yes, Ashwin was slightly injured, but you didn't really need him yesterday. I thought it was a fantastic knock by Jos Buttler, helped along by Ben Stokes, who had an indifferent week with a core case, and it was nice to see him back on the pitch. And it bodes well for England's middle order going to Southampton. But the middle order means nothing if you're consistently 60 for 4, 80 for 4, 110 for 4. You're not winning test matches, no matter how well Jos Buttler and Ben Stokes can play. Them numbers at the top of the order, it's irrelevant what happens in the middle, because you're not going to win.
So let's go to that. Then the top order for England, and Joe Root mentioning when asked by Michael Atherton that it's been hard for the top order for both sides through the course of this series. Now we acknowledge that, but are England giving them the best possible chance? Do they have the right partner for Alistair Cook? We've heard Steve's thoughts that he has no doubt about Alistair Cook on top, but that's what we're looking at. First innings, the first 4 wickets, what they've averaged, and it's not been happy signs for England. 70 for 4, 80 for 4, 60 for 4, exactly the point that Steve Harmison is making. The only exception, the first test. Right. What do we do then, Steve, with England's top order going into it? Do you back Keaton Jennings because you've picked a guy now, you want to back him at least 8 to 10 innings, or is it time for a change looking at how things have gone?
Well, to be honest, it's where things potentially going for the 4th test match. It's a question mark on whether Alistair Cook is going to be available for the birth of his 3rd child. Alice is due around about that time, so you're going to have to pick another opening batsman in the squad at least, and then it's whether that batsman comes in for Alistair Cook or he comes in for Keaton Jennings. The standout notabilities, obviously, if Johnny Bairstow goes, so we can put this all into context. England are potentially going to have to pick 2 new batsmen in the squad, and looking at the numbers that's going down, you think of opening batsmen, you've got. This is the problem. The next 2 cabs off the rank from an opening batsman point of view are left-handers. They're left-handers, and England have been, or the media in England are saying that's the problem. We've got 2 left-handers at the top of the order, and India's bowlers seem to have the wood on our left-handers. You've got Gubbins, who's averaging 46 at this moment in time, playing for Middlesex. You've got Rory Burns, who has consistently been England's best run scorer or best opening run scorer outside of Test match cricket for the last 2 years. Him down at the Oval, plays at Surrey. He's averaging 67. He's got nearly 900 runs this year. He's probably the next one in, but he's got a different technique as well as another left-hander. You've got a kid called Salt out down at Sussex, which would be big ask, but he's a right-hander. He's off the back of 140 this week. He's only averaging 37, so I'm not sure I'd be looking down that road. You're probably looking at the opening batsman being something like Rory Burns, but he is another left-hander with a different technique. Middle order, you've got Vince, Milan or Bell. Selectors have said Milan, they don't think Milan can play in English conditions at home. They've picked Vince half a dozen times and they've not really been overly sure about him. And you've got Ian Bell, who's averaging 51, who's got 8,000 test runs. So there's a lot for the selectors to go at. I personally would go with Ian Bell in the middle of the order, and I'd have Rory Burns in my squad. And if Alistair Cook's fit, I'd be tempted to either play Burns for Jennings, or do the go with Jennings and give him another go at Southampton. Personally, I think I'd give Burns a go over these last 2 test matches just to see how good he is, especially with one of them being at his home ground.
Very well, an exhaustive analysis. We expect nothing less. Stephen Harmison, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you and your thoughts on ESPN Cricinfo Match Day, and our best wishes to you and the family as you attempt a new innings of being a grandfather. So thank you very much, Steve. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Ranak. Thanks, Vic.
Right, and Aakash Chopra, thank you as well. We'll get you longer, but before I leave you, one quick word for a quietly brilliant debut for Rishabh Pant. Would I say brilliant or quietly confident debut for Rishabh Pant?
Quietly confident. He's still work in progress. Yes, he's taken a lot of catches. He's taken more than anybody else, any other Asian keeper. But then that's also a function of a lot of nicks going behind in his direction. So he's been safe. There's been a couple of catches that he should have taken. Work in progress with regards to his keeping. Work in progress with regards to his batting as well. But there is promise, there is potential, and if you're looking ahead, you've got to invest in people. Mahendra Singh Dhoni wasn't the best keeper when he started. Finished as one of the best match winners that the world has ever seen.
Thank you very much, Aakash Chopra. Absolute pleasure with your thoughts too. Thank you for being with us. Catch our extensive coverage ahead of the 4th test. Bye-bye.